A lot of you guys may be coming in today thinking, what is this empowerment conference? Is this some sort of like TED conference? Where is like Mr. TED? And who's this guy up here? Is he like a mini Deepak Chopra or something like that, right? I want to tell you guys a little bit about me and who I am. And so, years back, I had a two-year startup that failed, and I moved back home with my parents. And there's nothing wrong with moving back in with your parents. In fact, my parents are over here. My mom makes really good Indian food. So it was interesting, but then I was broke. I didn't have any money left. In a startup you spend all your money, and I spent it on rent and all that stuff. So I needed to find a job, and I ended up finding a job, which is great, and it was about an hour and a half away, and which is a really long commute. But then on top of that, they offered overtime. So I was working about 10 hours a day, plus commuting about 3 hours total. And I did that for a long time. And I started, from that's like 13, 14 hours a day, right? So I felt really bogged down by life, and for me, some of you guys may have experienced this where you're just not happy, right? Like I quickly became exhausted, right? I'd come home and I'd feel fat. And it's not because I didn't I didn't eat too much, it's because I didn't exercise at all. Like I ended up, the only exercise I had was like walking from my computer to the car. So in addition, I realized my startup was like living in Afghanistan. Like I didn't have, all the relationships, they kind of get dusty if you don't maintain them. So I didn't really have that many friends either. I came out of that situation. I really didn't feel that great. And I think the lowest point was actually when my dad actually let me borrow his brand new Cadillac. And I was driving home one day, and I got in a 4-car accident, and the car was totaled, right? So at critical points like this, and I'm sure you guys have felt this at some point in your life, there's a couple of options, I feel. The first option is that you get really quiet and you get jaded, And the second option is that you get angry and you get jaded, okay? Or the third option is you get humble. Later on, I realized there was a fourth option, which was to like run away to Cancun and drink your sorrows away. But for me, like that's where I was, and I had to do something, because I couldn't continue getting fat. That was one thing. But the other thing was like, I started asking myself a few important questions. Like, how did I get here? Because I thought I was really smart and. I thought things were together, but at the same point, my life was not reflecting that. So it was really confusing to me. And then also, I started asking myself, what can I do to make my life better? And what could I do to change how I felt about my situation? Okay, because I felt really crummy at the time. And so I took the third option that I mentioned, and I really humbled myself, and I got into empowerment. And I was haunted by those questions, and I wanted to figure out what was going on in my life. Okay? And that's when I really started to immerse myself. I went to the extreme and I was hooked. I took classes. I learned from the best coaches available. Robbie is one of the coaches that helped me out. But I even became a coach at one point. Some of you guys may know me because of that. And I really immersed myself. I would wake up in the morning and I would do affirmations. I'd drive to work. And the affirmations were something like, you're very confident, people like you. And then I'd drive to work, and then I'd listen to like Tony Robbins, and he'd tell you, you're very confident, people like you, And then I'd go to work, and then during break, I would actually, instead of like eating with anyone, I'd just eat by myself, and I'd start reading books. Okay, and then when work was done, I'd go to classes, empowerment classes, and I'd be the guy in the back of the room with the laptop that made like that annoying humming sound. That was me, right? And I was taking lots of notes. And then when I came home, when I was tired and exhausted, I'd listen to hypnosis CDs. Okay, so I really immersed myself in empowerment and figuring out what was going on. It was pretty intense. But what came as a result of doing that work was more confidence, more happiness, and more joy in my life. And today I'm really committed to empowerment. Okay, so I run the Empowerment School, which is a group that throws awesome events like this and workshops that's really here to help people live their potential. Okay, and not only that, but I'm on the board of a group called NetIP, which you guys may know about. So, so conjointly, NetIP and the Empowerment School is throwing this event. So one of the interesting things from my journey I wanted to mention was just that, I realized we all have support groups in our life. We're here for a reason. We're like, hey, I want a change in my life. I want something new. And typically we go to family and friends. Those are our support group. Okay, and I realized, family and friends are great. They help make you feel good. okay, when you're down. And they've helped me a lot too, my parents are here. However, I feel like feeling good is one thing, but it's another thing to feel good, discover what really caused your problem, figure out how things could have been done differently, figure out what changes are necessary to deal with the problem powerfully, and then how to make sure that problem never happens again. Okay? Because if you take a look, problems repeat. Okay? So feeling good again doesn't make you that powerful. You know, it makes you feel good, and what's necessary is change, intentional change. Okay? So Carl Jung once said, "We don't solve problems, we outgrow them." Okay? When we're all little kids, like crossing the street was our biggest problem, and nowadays we do it unconsciously. It's just easy, right? We've outgrown that problem. So the speakers here today, I want you guys just to understand that the speakers here today are not just here to motivate you and pump you up and make you feel good. Okay? They're here to empower you. You know, they're coaches, and what that means to me is that they're here to provide you with wisdom that can produce lasting changes in your life. Okay? And you know, I've had coaches in my own life, and they've helped me produce a lot of amazing results in my life, and I really appreciate that. And so in order to change what's your situation, I feel like you're going to need some support from people who study empowerment day in and day out. Okay? They're the experts. Coaches are unique because they study performance, because they study excellence, because they study leadership. Okay? They know a lot, and they really want to see you succeed, and your success is their success. Okay? I want you guys to sort of pause and think about this, right? Like if you know, picture you're in your bed, right? And it's nice and warm, and you're in your bed and you're sleeping, and all of a sudden the alarm clock goes off. Okay? It's a loud noise that wakes you up. Do you get out of bed excited for the day? Or are you like hitting the snooze button, right? And hoping that you can maybe call in sick for the day, right? If you're snoozing through life, I feel like you're losing in life. And these speakers are here to wake you up. It's very good, right? Today we have 3 special speakers are here to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to help you escape the rat race and live your passion.